Right. I found it interesting, though, still on the floor. We still hear these divisions. From the floor of the Republican National Convention, you still hear that. In fact, I tweeted about this today. I talked to you about it, SC. Some Ron Paul supporters kind of took over almost one end of the convention floor and staged I don't know if I want to say a protest, but definitely were there to get their message out. How does that play with the Tea Party ideals?
I actually think that that's healthy. I mean, if you want a big governing coalition, you have to be prepared for dissent. You have to allow room for the Ron Paul guys and the Tea Party guys. And you still see this clash. I mean, the old establishment isn't quite sure what to do with us yet, but welcome to a big, vibrant, energetic party. They have to include us.
Well, and speaking of establishment, I mean, I don't know, have we seen the last, maybe, inklings of establishment candidates? I mean, I would certainly call Mitt Romney an establishment candidate. But after this, do you think that'll be the case?
Yeah, I think he's the last of the old insiders get to choose the candidate process, and it's going to be replaced with this huge new Tea Party class of 2010. We have an amazing array of talent. We have a lot of guys and women to choose from, and I think it's going to come from the bottom up from here on out. And this is true for both Republicans and Democrats. The process has been decentralized and democratized.
Well, so, I mean, a lot of people talk about 2016 and the Republican roster. They mention people like Paul Ryan, Mike Pence, Chris Christie, Marco Rubio. Where do they square within this vision of the new conservative Tea Party candidate?
Oh, they definitely fit better the mold. You wouldn't see that kind of squabbling. A lot of people have suggested that maybe Paul Ryan has some of these Reagan-esque attributes that are really compelling to activists. But I think the pool is deep, and we have lots of talent, and let's see what happens in 2016.
Yeah. Who was the one guy when FreedomWorks was working with the Republican National Committee and said, we got to have somebody on that stage. We got to have somebody who's willing to espouse our views, who we are certain will do it. Who was the one guy you had to have? You've mentioned Ted Cruz. I know Rand Paul's going to be up on the stage. Who was the one guy you had to have?
Those two guys. Rand Paul, I think, represents the best of the Tea Party class from 2010. Ted Cruz represents the best of the Tea Party class of 2012.
Well, what about the speech that Mitt Romney has to give? He has to address the economy. He has to address serious issues. I think he has to deliver very emotive kind of speech where he connects and really sort of feels your pain kind of speech, and a Morning in America speech that's positive and forward-looking. What kind of Tea Party messages does he have to sort of transmit into the ether to really hit those hot spots for you?
You know, our frustration up until the Ryan choice was that you couldn't really tell what he was running for. You knew what he was against, and I think we're looking for a little bit of substance. How are you going to re-energize the economy? How are you going to get government off of the backs of entrepreneurs? We'd like to see some of that, and you can link that to a personal passion about fixing the problem. That's what we want to see from him.
So you want specifics?
Yeah, I want specifics.
There's a piece going up on theblaze.com tomorrow talking about what it means to be Tea Party. Who counts as Tea Party leaders? Have enough Tea Party leaders been tapped to speak at the convention stuff we're talking about tonight? In here, there's an interesting statistic that it's almost 50-50, that Tea Party's comprised of libertarians and social conservatives. But that's not a fight we see today, because libertarians, I think, have put other issues besides social issues at the top of their priority list. Do you think there's a fight brewing down the road between these two different ideologies?
I really don't, and I would take you back to Free Pack in Dallas. We went straight from a black Baptist preacher, former NAACP organizer, C.L. Bryant, right into a preview of Atlas Shrugged. That's a new coalition we're talking about here.